Helps if I turn the volume on. Ladies, gentlemen, fellas, welcome back to the channel and the stream. What's going on, everybody? We're going to be doing some stardom sit-em. So I'm not answering the DFS questions. That's what we're going to be doing on Sunday's live show. That's what we've been doing pretty much all week in Discord and a couple of comment sections. But yeah, hope everybody's having a good day. I'm just going to adjust this real quickly. So I'm going to be answering questions for the next hour. Stardom sit-em basics, right, for your season-long lineups. And we're going to go from there. So what's up, everybody? Yeah, so we got some injury news coming out, right? This is the stuff that's going to be pretty interesting. We got some pretty big news. I mean, if you're not following along all off season and really you're just getting back into fantasy this week, some pretty big news. Devine Ezigbo, it's not going to sound like big news, but he is now on IR. I don't know if it's short term. I didn't really read into it too much, but he's on IR for the Jaguars. Michael Armstrong is on the COVID list. And Leonard Fournette is no longer on the team. So it's James Robinson right now. It's Chris Thompson. And they just signed DeRay Ogunbowale in Jacksonville, who was cut by Tampa Bay, a pass-catching running back. His skill set kind of overlaps with Chris Thompson's. So yeah, Chris Thompson is fine to have in PPR formats. But James Robinson, if you are currently watching this stream, go right now. This is a tip for you, right? To start your stream, your podcast where you're listening on the replay, and go get James Robinson off your waivers. I don't care who you have to drop for him. Drop whatever backup. James Robinson is an absolute freak when it comes to his physical specimen and size, and he's now going to have the opportunity to be the early down running back on a Jacksonville team that the only other running backs they have in their backfield right now are pass-catching running backs Chris Thompson and DeRay Ogunbowale. Obviously, it's a terrible team. Obviously, it's not the best offensive line, but you're getting a starting running back who has potential 3-down upside, probably the first 2 downs, and red zone work at this point in the season on your waivers. You're rarely going to find that, especially if you're a zero RB Nazi. So I see a lot of questions coming in right now in the chat. What's up? I'm going to answer all these questions or as much as I can. If you want to make sure your question is guaranteed to get answered, because I assume there's going to be a couple hundred people in here. I'm assuming we're going to get a couple hundred questions like every 5 minutes. So if I don't answer it, just ask it again. I'm not ignoring it. The chat that I'm looking at on my screen just pops all the way up and I don't get to see it. If you want to guarantee that it gets questioned or gets answered, you can be sure to leave a super chat and then it'll hang towards the top. So I definitely get to see it. But other than that, this video and this stream and this podcast is going to be sponsored by Monkey Knife Fight. Monkey Knife Fight. If you like NFL daily fantasy sports, if you're just getting into it, you're just learning about it through my content. If you've been playing DFS and you're a loyal subscriber for a while, I have a DFS course that I made last year, over 10 hours, and then there's downloadable guides and overall just Excel sheets and a bunch of other stuff. In that course, I'm throwing that into a deal just totally for free if you deposit the minimum on Monkey Knife Fight, a prop betting site, over under fantasy point site. My projections on Patreon will help, and they'll give you $5 free. So you get $5 free, you get an extra contest to play over there, and my NFL DFS course, just using the promo code SALNFL. It's all linked up down below. That is the offer. That is the plug. Let's start answering some questions, everybody. I see everybody in here. What's going on, people? What's going on, Kason? What's going on, Marcus? Fellas. We're doing good, Marcus. Thank you. New intro. Yeah, so the intro in the live streams. I've been having a graphic designer who's also a Packer fan, I found out today, helping me with a lot of the graphics on my channel. There's going to be a lot more to even come. You can see the overlay on this, the streaming soon that we had at the beginning. So a lot more graphics are going to become and kind of getting into the site. Going to be a little bit more professional, which is what I always aim to do. But I'm not the best graphic designer, although I do like my thumbnails, I would say. But definitely having a professional graphic designer is going to be pretty huge. Sal. Hope all is well. I tried looking to see if Dalvin Cook is going to sit out or not. Can't find anything. Yeah, nobody can. Look, the only person who knows if Dalvin Cook is not going to play or not right now is probably Dalvin Cook. By all accounts, it seems like he's going to be suiting up and going out there. Same thing for Alvin Kamara, as it seems that both of their contract negotiations and very under the radar Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is in a contract season. All three of these running backs apparently are having positive talks. I mean, who knows, right? It could be just the team spilling this news and this information to beat writers to make it seem like it's all good. It could be the agent of Alvin Kamara to make it seem like it's all good, try and put pressure one way or the other. But positive talks seems like a good thing on all three of those running backs. It never really seemed like Aaron Jones was going to hold out. Packers kind of got leverage by drafting A.J. Dillon there. But yeah, as of right now, I'm assuming that Dalvin Cook is going to play. I don't really have any reason not to think so. I think the matchup against the Packers, one of the worst run defense. And the last time you saw them, they were getting literally run off the field by Raheem Mostert and the San Francisco 49ers in the playoffs. Yes, I think you're going to be okay in playing Dalvin Cook. And if he goes out there and he's not playing, or people say that he's not on the field and he's not reporting, we'll probably have that news about an hour to an hour and a half before when they release the inactives. Kamara should be a good pivot this week. Yeah, Kamara is going to be a fine play. We'll talk about it when we talk about it. Obviously, if you own him in fantasy and your season-long leagues, which I have him a couple shares, he's going to be fine. What's going on, Tommy? What's going on, Big Luke? What's up, everybody? Perfect timing. Don't know if I should be getting more Darren Fells or Jordan Atkins. No snap percentage. Yeah, so in terms of Showdown DFS tonight, I'm going to be doing a Showdown stream at 6 p.m. for an hour to an hour and a half, 6 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not going to answer any Showdown questions right now. This is all stardom sit-em right now for the week, or any other questions that you have free agency-wise, anything like that. These Thursday noon shows are all for season-long content. Thursday night, we can talk about Showdown and some more Sunday stuff. And then Sunday morning is when we'll really do the live stream outside of all the other videos going up on the channel. So happy that the NFL is here. Thanks for making these videos, Sam. No problem. Kenyon Drake or Allen Robinson in a PPR? That's a good question. I'm going to be going this week with, I'll go with Kenyon Drake. I'll go with the pass-catching running back. I like both of them. You can't start both. Matthew Shin, are you sure you can't be starting both in your lineup? Allen Robinson, to me, is a wide receiver one. There's only like 4 or 5 other wide receivers that I would want to be starting over Allen Robinson week in and week out in this league. Drop Cam Newton to get James Robinson. If you have another quarterback, I would. If you're in a one-quarterback league and you have a better quarterback, yeah, I would. Hitting the like is a good thing, so do it, people. Yeah, Tim, thank you. Yeah, be sure to hit the like button. I appreciate that. Tariq Cohen or Jarvis Landry? So we're getting a lot of question marks. I like this. Tariq Cohen or Jarvis Landry in a half-point PPR? I'm going to take Jarvis Landry there. If it was a full PPR, I might take Cohen. But David Montgomery is trending towards actually playing this week. It was thought that he might miss like a month of the season, but there was thought he might miss the whole year when he was getting half carted off at practice, tried to walk off on his own power, then took a cart from the sidelines in. But it seems like he's on his way to be playing. I believe that he was limited in practice. I think the first reports came out today on that. So we're starting to get some injury news. It seems like that Mike Evans has not practiced yet again. It seems like both the San Francisco 49ers receivers and Debo and Brandon Ayuk have not practiced, so be sure to track these situations. If Evans is out, Scotty Miller and Justin Watson get a bigger role. Probably Scotty Miller to start on the outside. If guys like Mike Williams are out, Joe Reed and Jason Moore get bigger roles for the Chargers. Debo Samuel and Brandon Ayuk, if both are out, it's the Kendrick Bourne show outside of George Kittle, those types of things. A lot of questions coming in. I like it a lot. Let's see what we got. Pick 2 of the 4. Robert Woods, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, and DJ Shark. Give me there. DJ Moore is number 1. Yes, without a doubt. And let me look at my projections. So I do have projections for DraftKings, Daily Fantasy Sports, but these projections are pretty much overlapping for DFS, for PPR formats. So if you do want my projections and rankings for DFS, which also will help you with your season-long lineups, you can sign up to Patreon down below. Also, a lot of other content going out over there. But let me look for you right now. Out of those wide receivers, I'll just kind of sort by my projection right now on them. It's going to be basically the same for PPR. So definitely out of that, DJ Moore is a 100% yes. He's my highest projected of all those players. And then after that, I'd be going to Keenan Allen, who I've projected for 14.2 fantasy points, which is going to end up being more than DJ Shark at 12.5 and more than Robert Woods, the other person that you gave me there, who's on the Monday night slate. So I don't have those projections yet. I'll have them later in the week. But it's yes for DJ Moore, and then I'll take Keenan Allen over Robert Woods for right now. But it's pretty close between those two. I really don't think it's going to be, it's like a half a point difference. Fuller or Shark? Between Will Fuller and Shark this week, I'm going to go with Fuller. I'll go with Fuller. The Chiefs secondary is actually not terrible, right? They've got some guys back there with Felton and with Ward. They got some guys back there, but especially if Brandon Cooks is banged up right now, it makes Will Fuller even more of a priority from a target perspective. Brandon Cooks, apparently, early reports are that if he plays, he will be limited. Now, we need more than just early reports on that, but that's obviously a good thing for Randall Cobb, to an extent, Kenny Stills, and definitely Will Fuller. What's going on, Sal? Brandon Cooks or Jarvis Landry today? Cooks in the better matchup, but might not even play. Yeah, in week 1, if the reports are coming out that he might not play and or if he plays, he's going to be limited, just give me Jarvis Landry there, who we know who's healthy. The issue for Jarvis Landry is his matchup against Marlon Humphrey in the slot is going to be brutal. The matchup for Jarvis Landry in the slot is going to be brutal. So I'll start to go to some of these positions behind me right now on the YouTube version. It's just some positions for DFS purposes, but you can see some of the stats and some of my notes on some players. I'll zoom in on it, and I can scroll through this, but yeah, I'm not taking any risks on a guy who might only play like 50% of the snaps if he's healthy, Brandon Cooks, when you know Landry's going to play 95 to 99% of the snaps. Yes, it's a tough matchup, but he went out last year against Marlon Humphrey later in the season and caught 7 balls for 74 yards, primarily against Marlon Humphrey in the slot. So I don't think that that's anything to worry about. Also, my game-by-game notes, half of them are done. They'll be posted on Patreon tomorrow morning, the full Sunday slate, right? All the games from 1 to 4 p.m., game-by-game notes for DFS purposes, for your season-long drafts, the rankings and all that will help you. It's on Patreon. I'm having the final 6 games that are going to be prepared by tonight, and they'll go up tomorrow. A lot of good facts. So just as an example here, they pop up on the screen right there real quickly. I'll move them over here. My game-by-game notes for the 6 games that I've done so far, 10 pages of notes. 10 pages of notes for 6 games. So yeah, there's a lot of interesting bullet points. Pretty much every fantasy relevant player from every team gets like 4 or 5 bullet points that I want to point out. Matchups-wise, defense versus offensive line rating, a bunch of stuff. So I love doing them because it's how I study every single week for these slates. It's how I prepare my fantasy lineups and all that. So I'm excited for it. Juju or Deontay Johnson? Juju. Kenyon Drake or Allen Robinson? Kenyon Drake, but again, you should be trying to start both there. Good morning, Rodrigo. Anthony Miller is on the waiver wire. Should I pick him up and drop Christian Kirk? I prefer Christian Kirk there. Fuller or Watkins for tonight? If you're talking about your fantasy lineup, it's Will Fuller, just like your season-long lineup. I'll be taking DFS questions later tonight. Need help. It's a 10 p.m. PPR for my flex spot. Your flex is going to be Terry McLaurin, Will Fuller, Deshaun Jackson. Who do you choose? Is that what you're saying here? Between the 3 of them, I'll go Terry McLaurin. Fuller or Terry McLaurin? I'll go Terry McLaurin. Shark, McLaurin, Woods, and David Johnson. Which two would you start in a half-point PPR? So in a half-point PPR, I'm going to be going with McLaurin and then Woods. Let me actually look what I have David Johnson projected for. No, I'll go. I take that back. I will go McLaurin and David Johnson. I have David Johnson actually projected pretty decent tonight. Yes, they're big underdogs, but people forget that David Johnson was one of the best pass-catching running backs as recent as last year before he got hurt, right? He gets hurt, hurts the back, and then people are just trolling him on Twitter. For the first 5 or 6 weeks when he was healthy, he was a top 5 pass-catching running back in terms of all efficiency metrics and actually even totals, routes run, all that stuff. He was being used properly. I'm concerned he won't be used properly in Houston, right? They like to run guys in between the tackles. Look at Carlos Hyde last year, and that's exactly when David Johnson turned into an absolute turtle out there. He doesn't look good in between the tackles. He's better in open space. He's better when he's running routes, and Deshaun Watson doesn't check down to running backs ever, literally never. So that's a concern for the full season of David Johnson. For tonight, though, I think it's fine. Also, if you're watching right now, we're just piling up subscribers. We're getting about 200 or 300 of you guys a day and girls, so I appreciate all of you. Be sure to hit the like and subscribe button, and the big one is the subscribe button, notification bell. If you like these live streams, I'm going to try and answer every single question I possibly can. If you indeed like these live streams, be sure to do that because you'll get the notification of when I go live tonight, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m., Monday nights before that, Monday Night Football slate at 6 p.m., and then these every single Thursday at noon. I'll be going live for about an hour, so be sure to hit the like and subscribe, and the notification bell will let you know that I'm doing that. See a lot of people in here, a lot of questions coming in. Is Mike Evans out? Who do I pick up? If Mike Evans is out, you really don't need to pick up anybody. It's week 1, right? So, if you have a spot on your bench, Scotty Miller is probably going to be the guy who fills directly in for Mike Evans. Justin Watson will see more usage as well there. But I don't think it's something that you should be trying to go out of your way to take advantage of in that specific team. If Mike Evans is out, start somebody on your bench, right? You should have some backup receivers. The direct backups there are going to be Scotty Miller and Justin Watson. Miller will be the probably direct backup routes run on the outside, who's not a terrible player. He's very inexperienced. He dealt with injuries last year in the preseason, Scotty Miller, so he didn't get a lot of run. He played a little bit last year. It was never terrible. It was never fantastic, of course. But yeah, it would be Scotty Miller as a backup. Who should I start? PPR, flex. Fuller, Deshaun, and Terry. Scary Terry at that point. Fuller or Fournette for my flex spot? Good question, actually. Let me see where I got Fournette projected for. I'll answer this question for you with projections. I got Fournette projected for 13.4 PPR points, and I've got Will Fuller projected for, he's on my Showdown ranks tonight. Let me pull this up, actually. Let me get up the Showdown projections, which are going to pop up over here, which I hate. Bang. Showdown projections. Will Fuller. I have Will Fuller at 13.9, so it's literally a toss-up. I'll take the running back there for security. I'll go Will Fuller since Brandon Cooks is out, so that projection will be a little bit more stable than it normally will for Will Fuller. So yeah, Will Fuller there. I'll scroll down so you can see some just more notes on some of these players, some more of their stats, things like that. I'll go over the running back page here on the screen behind me. Hey, Sal, how come you don't give us a heads up on when you were going live? Chase Nichols, I have zero idea what you're talking about. I put a notification in the Discord. I put 3 posts on Twitter, and there's a notification bell that you could hit on YouTube, so you always get emailed of when I go live. So that's on you, my friend, if you are not currently seeing when I go live. Every single possible spot where I have people that tune into my content, the biggest spots are YouTube, Twitter, and the Discord in terms of overall people. They are, those are the only places that I would know. I don't know where else I would notify people. Fuller or OBJ this week in a PPR? I will go with Fuller. OBJ's matchup is a little bit brutal. I usually like OBJ. That's the crazy part about Fuller. You're drafting him in the 6th and 7th round in your draft. You're taking OBJ in the 4th. And yeah, right off the bat, I would prefer Fuller right now. I want to see what I have OBJ projected at. I have OBJ projected for less points. It's barely, but yeah. What do we got? Sal, what player do you think will be the best captain tonight? I'll be answering those questions tonight on the live stream, only doing some content right now for the season-long stuff. So any projection, any DFS questions and or captain showdown million maker for tonight's slate, just a 1-game slate for DraftKings. If you don't play DraftKings and DFS, you should. Got a lot of content here on the channel. I'll be answering those tonight for anybody just coming in. Fuller or Shark or Taylor at my flex? Give me Fuller there. A lot of Fuller questions. Diggs or T.Y. Hilton this week? T.Y. Hilton. Mack or Cohen or Thompson? Between the 3 of those guys, let me see what I got Marlon Mack projected at. I actually like Marlon Mack's matchup a lot. I'm going to go Marlon Mack there. No, that's a lie. I'm looking at his fantasy points per game. Marlon Mack, I will go. Let's see what I got Mack projected at. Let me just rank this right now by team so I can easily find this. So Marlon Mack I have projected for Indy. Marlon Mack, 11.5 points. I'm going to go with Marlon Mack there. Do you think I should start Deontay Johnson or Juju this week, or maybe both? I think both is fine, but definitely Juju over Deontay. Can play 2 of the 3 in PPR. Gordon, DK Metcalf, and Ridley. Who are you playing? I am playing there definitely DK Metcalf and probably Ridley this week if you can only play those 2. Yo, Sal, what's up? What's going on? Chris says, AJ Green this week against the Chargers, half-point PPR. Also have Preston Williams and Deshaun Jackson. I'll take Deshaun Jackson there. David Johnson tonight or Keenan Allen for my PPR flex? I will be taking, let me check. I will be taking, I believe, David Johnson in that scenario. David Johnson, yeah. I think I'm going to take David Johnson. David Johnson I projected for, yeah, I'll take David Johnson. I got him for like 1 more point. Chris Smith donates the first super chat of the afternoon and the first of the Stardom Cinema 2020 version. Thank you. I appreciate it, Chris. He says, thoughts on AJ Green this year? Yeah, so AJ Green this year, I'm higher on than consensus. He was a top 30 in my wide receiver rankings, wide receiver 28 overall. Obviously, the age obviously hasn't played in a year and a half. That's all factored in, right? That's why he's obviously not going anymore in the top 10 or top 15 at wide receiver. But people are having him as like wide receiver 35, wide receiver 40. I didn't see it. So I'm higher than most people, I guess is the way to put that, consensus on AJ Green. I'm not high on him this week in the matchup that he'll have to go out there against. Does not seem that appealing in my opinion. Not by any means. But yeah, he would be the guy that I would want to own, if anything, out of any of the receivers in Cincinnati this week. But that said, I really don't want to own any of it. I mean, it's going to be just a brutal matchup for everybody there. Chris Harris, Desmond King, and Casey Hayward as your secondary. I mean, they're lucky that Derwin James is out, but like the Cincinnati Bengals. But man, that's a brutal spot. What's going on, Mike? How you doing? A lot of people asking the exact same question. So, I mean, Matthew Shin, somebody just banned him. Like, I mean, the man has asked the same question like 30 times, and I've answered it like 5 times. I mean, I don't know what this guy's doing here. So, I mean, like this guy, hide user from this channel, always. Yes, please. I kind of want to fade this first week to see how everyone actually plays. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do it. I mean, outside of just really wanting to play this first week, I just really want to play just in general. Like, I want to play the DFS, but I feel really strong about it. Just tracking everything off the offseason, being able to keep up on this first week of news, not only the ones that Roto World is going to post right on Twitter about the obvious news pieces that Miles Sanders today was dealing with his hamstring. Again, he's struggling through it, right? Not just that stuff, but I want to be able to keep up with defensive injuries, offensive line injuries. Those are just as important, and people don't really track them. If I can't get Mike Evans backups receivers, then who do I start? I mean, who do you have, Nicholas? You're asking me to play Houdini here and try and memorize and guess your team? I mean, what are you giving me here? Deontay Johnson or Tyler Boyd? Deontay Johnson. 1 point full PPR. Sammy Watkins, Antonio Gibson, or Devontae Parker? I will go there with Devontae Parker. Devontae Parker has a brutal matchup, though. Probably Stephon Gilmore season. Antonio Gibson is too much of a risk this week. It'll probably be a split backfield, I would imagine. Sammy Watkins is fine. Projection on Sammy Watkins is decent. It's like a toss-up between Parker and Sammy Watkins. If you want to look last year and say, oh, Devontae Parker got the best of Stephon Gilmore, it's not true. He had like a 50-yard catch when Gilmore fell down, so it inflates the stats. But yeah, I would go ahead and I would probably lean to go to Devontae Parker still. Brutal matchup, brutal spot for all those guys. Jarvis Landry or Devontae Parker? Jarvis Landry. Brutal spot for both. Stephon Gilmore and you're going to have Stephon Gilmore on Devontae Parker. I mean, that's a tough spot, Jude. And then you have Jarvis Landry who's going up against Marlon Humphrey. I mean, 2 of the best cornerbacks, 2 of the top 5 cornerbacks in the league, in my opinion. Any preference for the Baltimore running backs? Dobbins, the depth chart news was not favorable. Depth charts do not matter at all. Depth charts have 0 impact right now. It is a PR intern. It is literally an intern in the public relations departments putting these together. The coaches and staff do not put together the depth charts that the PR team does. They have no communication with them. It's just what the PR interns and team just assume. So the depth charts have no, it's just as like if I was putting them together, right? I think they would actually have a lot more credibility to them. But Dobbins on the depth chart doesn't really matter. I mean, you should expect Dobbins to be the running back 3 to start the season. Gus Edwards did nothing to lose that role. Yes, Dobbins has the draft capital, and I'm sure he'll work into that role. But yeah, the proper way that Dobbins should be listed on the depth chart is running back 3. Does that mean he'll get the touches of the running back 3? No, he could easily come out week 1 and be the RB1, honestly, based on draft capital, based on skill. But yeah, do not listen to any depth charts. The depth charts literally don't matter at this point. Will Fuller or Terry McLaurin in my flex? Will Fuller. Kyler Murray or Aaron Rodgers? Kyler Murray. Final spot: Darrell Williams, Kirk, Sammy Watkins, or Landry. Landry. I would never start Christian Kirk this week. He might have the worst matchup on the entire weekend. He's going to get sacrificed to Richard Sherman this weekend. I mean, maybe this is the year that Sherman downfalls after having the best year of his career last year, but I won't bank on that. Pick two guys. Woods. So what do we got here? Pick two guys. It just jumped. We just jumped all the comments. So Sal Vetri, any preference on the Baltimore guys? No. Hi, what's going on? Eckler or no this week? Question mark. At the running back position, Eckler right now is a maybe. He's fine. I would be starting Eckler in all your season-long leagues. Fuller or Fournette, half point. What do you think, chat? I will be going with right there. I mean, somebody's asked this a couple times. I think it might have been you. So once again, I'll say that I'll go with Fuller there. Hayden Hurst or Jack Doyle? I'll go Hayden Hurst. Jonnu Smith or Hooper? Jonnu Smith. Hey, yo, Sal, what's going on? A-Rob isn't a yes for you. A-Rob is, of course, a yes for me. I don't know what you're thinking. Allen Robinson is a yes. I mean, down here he's on the maybe list, but he's in play. He's in my player pool. I mean, the difference between me putting a yes and a maybe is just for you people watching, honestly, right? There's no difference. Like these guys, this guy who's a yes, I might only get 10% of. This guy who's a maybe, I might get 25% of. The difference is that they're in a player pool, and more so for cash is like where I lean on these guys. A-Rob's fine. I mean, I could honestly put all these guys as yeses if they're going to be in my player pool. There's literally so many receivers. But we'll go over the stuff. I haven't changed this. I literally haven't changed this since Monday. It's been changed. The projections are up on Patreon, but Final Thoughts show comes out on Fridays. So Friday on YouTube will be the Final Thoughts for the DraftKings version of the content that I produce. But for right now, season long. Getting a lot of questions. I like this. This is fun. More questions. Gesicki or Jonnu Smith in PPR? Thanks. Yeah, it's a really good question. Tough matchup in the middle of the field for Gesicki. They don't really have a slot receiver right now. He's probably going to play that role. I'll go with Gesicki there, but those are probably two of my favorite tight ends this entire season, if not my two favorite. Sal, if I have Chubb and OBJ on my team, should I trade one of them? No, I mean, if you drafted both of them, it probably means because you wanted them, right? I do think that they can correlate well together. Chubb's going to see 300-plus touches if he stays healthy in this offense, and Baker's going to have a lot more success if it goes as they want with play-action passing, which is going to help Odell. So, I mean, I wouldn't trade them. I mean, that's probably your second and fourth-round pick. You probably don't want to be trading them this early. Hey, Sal, Melvin Gordon or Marvin Jones? Melvin Gordon. Mike Evans or T.Y. Hilton? Mike Evans, you got to track the news. If he's healthy and he's a full go, Mike Evans, it doesn't seem like that right now, so T.Y. Hilton for now. Godwin a lock, Mikey banged up. Godwin in your season-long leagues is, of course, starting. $7,100. He has the best matchup of the entire weekend, Chris Godwin against P.J. Williams, according to Pro Football Focus. So the number one wide receiver this week in terms of matchup against his cornerback is Chris Godwin. And now you're telling me Mike Evans might not play, right? Yeah, I would say that I really do like Chris Godwin this week in all formats. Matthew Stafford or Kyler Murray for the QB this week? What do you think? Let me check my projections. I mean, obviously, it leans to automatically want to say Kyler. I have Kyler projected for, you want to hear it right here? Matthew Stafford, I have projected for 18 fantasy points. Kyler Murray, 18.1. So, flip a coin. I guess Kyler Murray for 0.1 more fantasy points in a projection. Landry or Boyd? Landry for me. What's good, Sal? Appreciate you, brother. What's going on, Cody? How you doing? We get a $1 donation, and the message was retracted, so I can't really say anything on that. Hit the like and subscribe button as well. Yeah. 200 people in here currently at 12:18 on a Thursday, Eastern time. What's going on, everybody? Be sure to hit that subscribe, notification bell, like, all that. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Sorry I'm late, Sausage Jay. What's going on, man? How you doing? How do you feel about Jack Doyle now that Trey Burton's on IR? Either way, I like Jack Doyle a lot this week. In general, he's not the most flashy player, but yeah, he's going to have success in this offense with Phillip Rivers. The guys that you worry about with Phillip Rivers are T.Y. Hilton or Michael Pittman, guys that are probably going to go downfield more. Paris Campbell, the running backs, and Jack Doyle, you feel pretty comfortable with a guy in Phillip Rivers, even if he's going to struggle throughout the season there. So, yeah, this week, either way, I like Jack Doyle. Trey Burton being out, he was dealing with injury for a while now. It helps a little bit, right? Just securing snaps, but Doyle was the starter either way. Yo, Sal, Evan Ingram or Marvin Jones for my final flex spot? Let's see what the projections say, sir. Evan Ingram I have projected for, right now, peek behind the curtain. I'm going to go with Marvin Jones there. Galladay or Chubb for a PPR? Galladay or Chubb, running back Chubb, I have projected for 14 points. Wide receiver Kenny Galladay, I have projected for 15.4. So, Kenny Galladay. Should I start Fuller over Gallup? ? Yeah, so I'm going to start Fuller in a lot of spots this week. I mean, either way, I'm always wanting to. I hope you could start both of Fuller and Gallup. I mean, you must have really good wide receiver depth or can only start two wide receivers in a flex. But I like both of those guys, but I'm still going to go Fuller. Gallup is fine, but I'm definitely leaning Fuller there. Fitz or Emmanuel Sanders? Larry Fitz or Sanders? I would never want to start Larry Fitz. He should not be on your teams. I want Emmanuel Sanders there. PPR, OBJ, Shark, or Taylor? I'll go with OBJ there. I got Fournette, Marvin Jones, Deshaun Jackson, Will Fuller, and McLaurin. Pick 3. Will Fuller, McLaurin, Deshaun Jackson. How do you feel about Jack Doyle? I feel really good. Like Renfrow as a sleeper this week. Good. May chop, finish strong, and only wide receiver familiar with their offense. Yeah, Renfrow doesn't really do much for me. He's just a safe play. You're going to get your 8 to 10 fantasy points out of him. I don't like it. I think Bryan Edwards and Henry Ruggs are better receivers. Yes, they're rookies, so they don't really know much of the playbook or have live experience in an NFL preseason type of a game, right? Like Renfrow does. Renfrow was great last year as a rookie, right? But he was very efficient. Yards per route run, all this stuff out of the slot was great for Renfrow. He's fine, but I would rather play Bryan Edwards and or Henry Ruggs on his own team ahead of him. Jimmy G, Kyler Murray, or Daniel Jones this week? It's probably going to be Kyler Murray there projection-wise. Jimmy G is actually going very much under the radar. Like Jimmy G, I projected for 17.9 points. Kyler Murray, 18.1. So if you're talking about your season-long leagues, Murray's the safer bet. Yes, a tougher matchup, but I think the 49ers defense, naturally it is going to get worse than last year. They've lost pieces. It's hard to remain the number one overall secondary back-to-back years. It's rarely been ever done before, literally once or twice ever. So yeah, I would lean Kyler Murray there, rushing upside. But yeah, Jimmy G, the total that he's going to be in that game, man. If you're talking about your season-long league, give me Kyler Murray because of his mobility. But Jimmy G, I would probably prefer in any DFS tournaments. Would you start Melvin Gordon this week in week 1? Yeah, sure, definitely. You probably drafted him with a top 4 pick. Why wouldn't you start him? How do you feel about Tyler Boyd? Tyler Boyd will have a very tough matchup this week. Chris Harris Jr. probably in the slot against the Chargers. So yeah, I would probably try and find something else. Doesn't project out that well for me either. Gesicki, since Gilmore is going to be on Parker. Mike Gesicki will be in the slot a lot. He'll probably get, maybe J.C. Jackson in the slot if they're going to put a cornerback on him. I assume they're going to put a safety and or a linebacker. So, yeah, Gesicki will have probably the easiest matchup for the Dolphins in the middle of the field, but it's still a tough matchup. All right, Kels. My man be asking the same question 30 times. Ronald Jones or Devin Singletary or Zach Moss? All of them terrible. Probably Devin Singletary for this week, but Zach Moss out of all 3 for the rest of the season. Are we riding tight ends against Arizona this year? It's George Kittle this week, so yeah. Any trends that happened last year, if they have been fixed, if there's a reason to think they won't be fixed, then sure, go with it. But, Arizona literally spent a top 10 pick on a player that's supposed to stop the tight ends. Maybe not George Kittle type players, but to come in and I would say to be ignorant enough to be all right, for DFS, if it wasn't George Kittle this week, if it was just some average Joe Schmo was playing Arizona and they were getting popular because they were playing Arizona and that was it, that's the wrong decision. Arizona secondary and their linebacking core is going to be improved. They literally drafted a top 10 player who's maybe the best player in the entire draft. Maybe the best player in the entire draft in terms of overall skill set and versatility to kind of fill that void. So they're not the same team as last year. And then obviously you do some other pieces as well. Matt Stafford or Derek Carr? Matt Stafford. Hey, Sal, full point PPR, pick 2. Cooper, Fuller, Woods, and McLaurin. I'm going to be going there with definitely Woods over Cooper Kupp, but I'll probably be going with Will Fuller and McLaurin. Unless you're somebody who wants to just see your players play in prime time, well then Fuller and Robert Woods, right? What do you think about jamming in Lamar, McCaffrey, and Michael Thomas this week in cash? Sounds terrible, and I'm not going to answer any more DFS questions in here. So you can ask me the DFS questions on tonight's stream and also more so on Sunday morning stream. Or you can just get the projections, but yeah, sounds terrible. Am I crazy for thinking Randall Cobb will have the best season of the Texans receivers? No. If they all stay healthy, it's Will Fuller without a question of the doubt. If they all stay healthy, it's Will Fuller. No questions asked. He might be a top 10 wide receiver if he stays healthy all year. But Randall Cobb, yeah. I don't see any reason why not to like him. Had a good season last year. He's still fine. He just signed a $19 million guaranteed $27 million contract. So, yeah. Seems good to me. For Clyde Edwards-Helaire, how do you think he will do? Fantastic. I think he's going to be a top 4 running back, top 5 running back for fantasy this year. I have him projected as the 5th overall player in my rankings. So, yeah, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, fantastic. Tonight, yeah, probably 16 to 18 touches, and he's going to probably score a touchdown. So, love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. PPR, James Conner or Eckler? Tate or Miller in PPR? Golden Tate, if that's what you're talking about. Parker, Crowder, or Landry? Pick one. Give me Parker, Crowder, or Landry. Let me check my projections on Crowder. I forget what I have him projected at, 12.9. I'm going to take Crowder there. PPR Crowder. Devontae Parker or Marvin Jones? Marvin Jones. Start Zeke or Chubb? PPR. Zeke, without a question of doubt. You start Zeke every single time. You drafted him top 3 or top 4 overall. You start him every single time. Should I start Amari Cooper over AJ Green? Yes, of course. Higbee or Gesicki? I'll take Gesicki there. Cooks and Duke for Dobbins? Who says no? Cooks and Duke for Dobbins. I would want the side that has Cooks and Duke for this year. For Dynasty, yeah, definitely Dobbins. Nice to see you, Sal. Do I take Tyreek Hill on DK tonight? Thursday through Monday slate. Seems pricey. I'll answer that later tonight. Aaron Jones or Josh Allen? Josh Allen. Matt Ryan or Stafford? Ooh, that's a really good question. I'm probably going to lean Stafford there, but those guys are very similar. Or Matt Ryan. I haven't projected for 2.5 more points. Just a better game environment for Matt Ryan this week. A lot better. James Conner or Joe Mixon? Joe Mixon. Will Fuller or Robert Woods for the flex? I'll go Will Fuller there. Fuller, Djax, or Akers? Will Fuller. Should I start Amari Cooper over AJ Green? Yes. Whew. Take a little bit of break from looking at all those. How y'all doing? Too many questions coming in. Too quick. Everybody's too quick here. We got 230 people watching live. A lot of people are going to watch in the replay. Take a second of your time. Hit the like button for me one time, right? Big ol' subscribe button pops up. And take a couple seconds of your time. I'm not going to be able to edit that one in, actually. But bottom right-hand corner, you can hit the subscribe button. See a lot of people subscribing within the video. I appreciate that a ton. Saw a couple people donating so far. I appreciate that as well a ton. You all rock. This is season-long stream. All DFS questions will be answered in tonight's stream, says Mike. Yeah, I'll answer DFS questions tonight and mainly on Sunday morning. Antonio Gibson or Le'Veon Bell? Le'Veon Bell for week 1. What's your thoughts on the Rams' backfield for this season? Cam Akers is the best player in that backfield. Should I start Amari Cooper over AJ Green? Yes. Bam. OJ Howard or Jared Cook? Jared Cook. Sutton or Moss? So Sutton or Zach Moss, Cortland Sutton. Thanks, boss. No problem, man. Josh Allen or Dak in week 1? Dak every single time. I mean, Dak is the answer for every single one of those questions, unless Lamar Jackson or Kyler Murray in a really good matchup, or Patrick Mahomes is the other question, right? It's Dak every single week. He's a top 3 fantasy quarterback in this league, in my opinion, for this season. Edelman or Mostart, my flex spot. Never Mostart, so Edelman. How do you think Will Fuller or Robert Woods for a flex in week 1? I think it's pretty close, but I'll go Fuller. Deshaun Jackson or Raheem Mostart? Never Mostart, so Deshaun Jackson. Half-point PPR, Cooks or Thompson in the flex? Brandon Cooks doesn't seem like he's going to be a full go tonight. If that's actually going to be the case, I'm going to avoid that. So I'll go with anybody else. So I guess Chris Thompson. Half-point PPR is not that great for Chris Thompson. I'm hoping you could find somebody else on your bench, but if not, that is fine. Thompson from Jacksonville or Lindsey? I'll go Thompson there. Brady, Ryan, Minshew, Superflex, pick 2. Matt Ryan definitely, and Brady. Who will have the best game tonight? Aaron Rodgers. Gallup or Fuller for the flex? Fuller. Take a breath. Boyd or Marvin Jones? Marvin Jones. Yeah, how's everybody's day, right? I can answer. I can be a robot and answer every single question. We've been live right now for 35. Don't worry. I'll still be here for another 30 or so. How's your day going? Been a good day. Been a busy week right now. It's fun, though. So just an outlook on what we've already had out. The betting picks went out yesterday. First look went out already. Thursday Night Football video is already up. We're going to be streaming tonight at 6 p.m. East Coast time. Man, I can't wait. It's back. Football's back, baby. Big energy. Get so excited for that. Don't have any bets in on tonight's game. I would lean the Texans side, but I don't want to bet it. I don't really see the edge in tonight's line. Like, people think, oh, Deshaun Watson's on the Texans. They're going to keep it close. And if they do keep it close, that's probably why. But the Texans secondary is absolutely atrocious. When Vernon Hargreaves is in your secondary and he's still in your secondary since sucking last year really bad, not great. Yeah, Roby was okay for them last year. Not really going to stand the chance against Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes. Not at all. But yeah, I'm going to be playing the Millie Maker DFS. I'm going to be building a lot of lineups before we go on the stream right around 5 tonight. And I think I'll probably 150 max it. So yeah. Or I cannot wait. I'm going to 150 max it, but probably not put those in the Millie Maker. Millie Maker's a really rough tournament. If I was to play Millie Maker, it would be the showdown slates, which seems crazy, but there's just less combinations and less duped combinations if you really want to try and make it that way. If you put time in compared to an average person entering a lineup in a bigger Millie Maker, but I'll probably play the 150 smaller contest and then put like my top 5 lineups in the Millie Maker for that. Like Sal said, great betting video. Yeah, be sure to check out the betting video, everybody. It's the first one I've ever done for like a specific week. I've done general betting tips. That's actually some of my most viewed videos. But I think I'm going to do them every single week if you guys like the format. I was kind of concerned about how the format would flow, but I think it went pretty good. We did the 6 picks, right? But I like having another person to talk through with those, like a guest. But it actually went really well, and it was easy to produce, so I think I'll do that. Excited football's here. Let's go Chiefs. Yeah, definitely. Jonathan Taylor or Mack? On the season, Jonathan Taylor. Tonight, Mack. Or week 1, Marlon Mack. Sal, are you locking Rodgers in tonight? Definitely. So if you know my content, thanks, Cody. If you guys know my content, you'll know what me answering with Aaron Rodgers means when people ask me for the best pick of the day or the best pick of the night. If you don't know, I'll explain it right now. It's just pretty much an inside joke I just say Aaron Rodgers. If he's on the slate, I'll say somebody else. I have to kind of think of somebody now. Maybe we'll say Cam Newton now. if Cam Newton's not on that slate. So yeah, the answer is always Aaron Rodgers. It's basically me just trolling people, but like, come on, you're coming in here for me to give you the best play on the slate. If I knew it, I'd be a millionaire every single night, right? I bet their props and then max them out on every single site. Obviously, I can give you help and advice, but we're trying to teach you how to fish and or make some entertaining content, not just sitting here and being like, all right, everybody, welcome in class 1, A, B, C, D. Those are the rankings. All right, goodbye. No, right? We're trying to have a conversation, people. Why are you down on Mostert this week? Oh, I'm not down on Mostert this week. I'm down on Mostert in general. Probably a great guy. I'm happy he got paid. Every single player should always get paid. Always pro player from a standpoint of how much money they should get compared to the owners and all that, right? Obviously, pay them as much as they want. Pay them as much as they deserve, which is everything because that's the only reason why people are watching these games. But, yeah, Mostert is no different than Jerick McKinnon. He's no different than Tevin Coleman. So why did you draft him in the 5th round of your draft? I have no idea. If you could explain to me the difference between Raheem Mostert and Tevin Coleman in that 49ers backfield, go ahead. Try. I mean, Jerick McKinnon's the best running back in that backfield. Then Tevin Coleman's the second best. And then Raheem Mostert's the third best. So at some point this season, that's going to balance out. And probably week 1, it's going to balance out. I doubt Raheem Mostert's ever going to see 20-plus touches unless those other guys are injured. So, I mean, to me, Mostert looks like a 10 to 12 touch running back like he was last year, 10 touches a game during the regular season. So, yeah, I don't really have much interest in ever having Raheem Mostert. When you're drafting him in the 5th and even 6th rounds, no thank you. No thank you. Some people take him in the 4th. Oh, God. Hello from Seattle. Keep killing it. Thank you. Thank you. What's going on? Welcome, Seattle. How's Seattle doing these days? Thanks, Sal. No problem, man. Stephon Diggs or Mostert in the flex? Never Mostert, so Stephon Diggs. And honestly, like, if I think Mostert's the answer, I will say Mostert, but he's not the answer in any of these. Jonathan Taylor or Tyler Boyd in the flex this week in a full PPR. That is a rough spot to be in. Tyler Boyd is going to get absolutely shut down by Chris Harris, but I'm going to go Tyler Boyd because I don't think Jonathan Taylor is going to get that many touches this week. I think he'll get touches, right? But I think Marlon Mack probably sees around 15. Taylor probably sees like 8 to 10 maybe. And then you're banking on a Jonathan Taylor touchdown, whereas in a PPR format, even if Tyler Boyd has a bad day, but he can reel in 4 receptions for 40 yards, right? A very bad day, but still better than a guy getting 8 touches on the ground with nothing to show for it. I'll also call out once again that the sponsor of the show is Monkey Knife Fight above. If you want my daily fantasy course, my NFL 10 hours plus of DFS daily fantasy, also general sports betting tips and DFS and tips and just general stuff for bankroll management, it'll be free if you just deposit the minimum on Monkey Knife Fight, partnering up with them. Promo code SALNFL. You can click the link down below. It'll take you over there. You make a minimum deposit of $10. They'll give you $5 free. They give you an extra additional contest ticket to play in, and then I'll send you the course once they send me an email that you did all of the required things that I just stated. Cam Akers or Jonathan Taylor for week 1 flex? Give me Akers. I think he has more of a touch upside. Locking in Rodgers tonight? Yeah, definitely. Let's go Chiefs. Excited for the football season? Definitely. Half point PPR. Cooper Kupp or Kareem Hunt? Kareem Hunt for me. Full PPR. Start Jonathan Taylor or James White? James White. Currently on my lunch break. What's up? Busy week for sure. Yeah. Hopefully having a great lunch break, man. Where are you working? Where's everybody tuning in from? I always wonder that, right? We're here in the middle of the day. A lot of people probably on their lunch break on the East Coast, just starting work on the West Coast. Where are you tuning in from? Your jobs? What are you doing? Feel free to share. A lot of people coming in here. I appreciate everybody in here right now. What's going on? Breeze or Newton this week? Really good question, man. I think I'm going to go Newton. I know that's probably not the popular answer, but I have Breeze projected for 20.2 points. I have Newton projected for 20.2. So I don't know if you're a Patreon and you saw that. So I have both Newton and Breeze projected for the same amount of fantasy points this week. I think I just like Newton's mobility. Everything out of camp is saying that they just want Newton to continue to run the ball, right? So it's hard not to like Newton. So I'm actually going to go Newton over Drew Brees this week. Sounds pretty crazy. Cam Newton's not getting drafted in season-long leagues. To me, he's a top 12 quarterback. I had in my rankings this year, Drew Brees was like my number 13 overall quarterback in my rankings, and Cam Newton was number 12. So I prefer Drew Brees or Cam Newton on the season, to be honest with you. But yeah, I'm gonna go Cam Newton over Brees this week. Will Fuller or Deshaun Jackson, full PPR. Will Fuller. Should I start Brandon Cooks or McCole Hardman? The real answer is neither. Like if your decision for week 1 is Brandon Cooks or McCole Hardman, I mean Hardman's gonna play probably 10 to 12 snaps, maybe 15. I mean he's a backup wide receiver, right? The reason why everybody was so hyped up on McCole Hardman is if Demarcus Robinson gets hurt, if Sammy Watkins gets hurt, if Tyreek Hill gets hurt, then Hardman's going to step in. But it's going to be really difficult for Hardman to pass one of those guys up this year. They just re-signed a guy in Demarcus Robinson. They obviously want him to play. They like what he does out there. He plays all the snaps. Sammy Watkins, right now as a slot receiver, is going to play over with the contract that he has, McCole Hardman. So, I mean, Hardman's a backup. If you're one of the, in my opinion, donkeys who drafted McCole Hardman in like round 6, 7, or 8 in your fantasy draft, a 10 or 12-man league, I mean, I'm sorry for you. You're going to have a lot of upside if somebody gets hurt, but trying to draft every single year hoping that players get hurt, normally it's not going to pay off in the long run. So, I mean, the answer is Brandon Cooks, but if he's limited or out tonight, I guess you're just forced to play McCole Hardman, but I'd be starting to look for waivers. Le'Veon Bell or Mostert, Le'Veon Bell. Taylor or Hunt, Hunt. Jonnu Smith or Evan Ingram, Evan Ingram. Full PPR flex, Cam Akers, Brandon Cooks, or Christian Kirk, Cam Akers. Aaron Jones versus the Vikings this week with Hunter gone for 3 games. Yeah, Aaron Jones is fine this week in your season-long leagues. Is Le'Veon Bell a good pick or should I trade him? When'd you get him? If you got him at pick 5, yeah. If you got him at pick 3, not the greatest of picks. He's just a very meh pick. There's nothing great about him. There's nothing terrible about him. His coach is really bad about him. Frank Gore being there could be an issue. So I own no Le'Veon Bell, and I don't plan to. Hunt, Gallup, or Scary Terry, half-point PPR. That's a good one. Let me see what I have Hunt projected at. I'm almost positive the answer is Scary Terry, but let me see what I got Hunt projected at. Put this in right now. Hunt is projected at 10.2. I'll go Scary Terry there. Terry McLaurin. The fact that DeAndre... What do we got? All the questions. So many questions. Wow. Oh, my God. The fact that DeAndre Hopkins negotiated his own deal is sick. $42 million guaranteed. Yeah, it really is. That's great. I don't know. Wait, he has no lawyers? That can't be. No agent? How scared should I be if I have Cooper against Ramsey? Pretty scared. Nothing crazy, though. Cooper's won against good cornerbacks before. He's not the greatest in man-to-man, but it's not like he can't do it. I don't think it'll be a shadow matchup. I think you'll see Ramsey on Gallup for parts of the game. So, if it's your season-long league, you're starting Amari Cooper. You're not sitting a top 4 pick in your first week unless there's an injury or something. Any early trade targets? No. You should have drafted the guys that you wanted to trade for, right? Obviously, you should try to be trade after week 1 and 2 for all these rookies. Jonathan Taylor, right? Zach Moss, all these guys who are going to have bigger roles in the second half of the year without a doubt, but probably start off the year not having the biggest of roles. Cam Akers, all these guys, right? Some of the rookie wide receivers as well. Denzel Mims, all these guys, if they're in a deeper league. Go Bell or Mostert? Bell. Will Fuller or Deshaun Jackson? Will Fuller. Odell or DK? DK Metcalf. Currently on the clock. Milking this bitch. Nice. I'm at school. Rochester, Minnesota. Nice. Boston, a med student. Medical student. That's scary, man. You're in school for a while, right? Couldn't imagine. Props to you. Just got off virtual school from college. Yeah, a lot of people are in virtual school. My brother went full, everybody for the most part seems to be going full virtual. I know that UNC was trying to go in person, and then they spiked their positive tests as if it matters, but from 2% to 20%. They should have shut down either way. Outside of Detroit, nice. Nice seeing where people are tuning in. If Evans is out, who do I start? Sanders or Boyd? I'd go Sanders. Gurley or Zach Moss at my flex? Gurley, without a doubt. Juju or Allen Robinson, non-PPR? Allen Robinson, but I hope you can start both of those unless you're in a 6 or 8 man league. Deshaun Jackson or Mark Ingram in my flex? I'll go Deshaun Jackson there. Coming from middle of Kansas, do you like Ebron at all this year if Big Ben stays healthy? Yeah. I like about 20 other tight ends more for my season long, but he's fine, right? You're hoping for touchdown upside. If Ebron goes out and scores 6 to 8 touchdowns this year, he'll finish as a top 15 tight end. If not, he'll finish outside the top 20. So no real stance on guys like Ebron, right? I prefer guys like Jack Doyle, but there's no real stance on it. Also, if you're watching right now, hit that like button. Over 100. Appreciate that. Helps it reach more people overall. Going live until probably about 1, so 20 more minutes or so. Gurley or Zach Moss? Gurley. Bell or Raheem? Le'Veon Bell. Aaron Rodgers or Cam Newton? Cam Newton. Not even close for me. Hey, Sal, Antonio Gibson, Jamison Crowder, or Jerry Jeudy? Full point PPR. I'll take Crowder this week, but on the year, it's going to be Antonio Gibson more times than not. But for this specific week, we'll go Crowder. Look, Gibson can be a breakout. You're going to have guys who break out in week 1, like Hollywood Brown did last year, right? Deshaun Jackson did last year, and then he got hurt. Gibson could be that guy. Gibson is going to break out at some point, but I think they're going to give McKissick a decent amount of the snaps as the veteran back there. I don't really think Bryce Love is going to get too much work. I think it's going to be Gibson and McKissick. But Crowder is right now the healthiest receiver and the number 1 wide receiver in the slot for Sam Darnold. And the guy he has the most chemistry with a rookie and Denzel Mims, and then free agent pickups and Chris Hogan and Rashad Perriman that are the other receivers out there. Let's see. Some of you drafted horribly to be answering these questions. Yeah. Chris Carson or Michael Gallup? Chris Carson. Watkins, Anthony Miller, Golden Tate, PPR flex. Golden Tate. Melvin Gordon or Rojo? Melvin Gordon, never Rojo. Newton or Wentz? Give me Newton there still. I'll take it. I like Wentz a lot. Both of those options are good. You're really not having any specific answer there. Both those options are good. Just entering a text. Yeah, FanDuel one game. My friend's asking me about a FanDuel one game slate. They're awful. I mean, the one game slates on FanDuel are just a lottery system, right? They still have like the tiered approach to how you can have your captains and your second guy, right? That's how it is right now. What is this called? Let me see. Yeah, it's like a tiered approach. Just sounds terrible. Crowder, Devontae Parker. I'm going to go Crowder. Hollywood versus Fuller. I'm going to go Fuller. Most start or me? Yeah, me. Chris Carson or Michael Gallup? Chris Carson. Akron, Ohio checking in from. Nice. Will Fuller or Marquise Brown in the flex? Will Fuller. Bell or Singletary on the flex? Bell. Good to see more quality content from you. Thanks for putting in all the hard work. Help us win our leagues. Nice. Yeah, best of luck this week. Did your dad take Aaron Rodgers again this year? No, he actually took Lamar Jackson, 3rd round. He picked first overall. He got McCaffrey, then David Johnson, then Lamar Jackson. Not a bad start. The reason he had to take David Johnson is because there was like 20 other running backs taken in my league before he went back at his turn. David Johnson was arguably the best one available, I would say. What do we got here? We got about 300 people watching. What's up? How y'all doing? I'm going to put this back to the let's go to the quarterback page, see what's going on there. James White or AJ Green? James White. Miles Sanders or Ridley? Miles Sanders, if he is indeed healthy, just track the news on Miles Sanders. He might not be a full go, so you just got to track that. Will Fuller or Gallup? Fuller. How do you feel about Melvin Gordon? I think he's fine. A lot of people think he's going to bust this year. Look, if you got him in the 4th round, he's fine. I don't think he's in a 50-50 snap split with Philip Lindsay. I mean, here's the deal. Philip Lindsay couldn't beat out Royce Freeman. They were in a 50-50 share last year, and he was losing work in the receiving game. So I get it. Like Philip Lindsay, back-to-back years is a 1,000-yard rusher. Everybody loves Philip Lindsay's energy in that locker room. He'll be involved, but I don't think it's going to be a 50-50 role, especially for the money. Not crazy money, but like $8 million a year that they gave to Melvin Gordon. AJ Green or Christian Kirk? AJ Green. Cam Akers or James White? James White. James White or AJ Green? James White. Gibson, Akers, or Landry, a half-point PPR. I will go with Landry. But Akers is really close there. Adrian Peterson or James White? James White. Higbee or Doyle? Give me Doyle. Robinson or Ronald Jones? Robinson. Thoughts on Ronald Jones this week? No interest. Better flex, Boyd or Jonathan Taylor? Probably Jonathan Taylor, but both are rough. Really tough matchup for Boyd against Chris Harris Jr. Do you have videos on tonight's matchups for DraftKings? Yeah, I do. Yep. The video is on my channel. It is the Thursday Night Football video, and I'll be live at 6 p.m. tonight, so in about 5 hours and 15 minutes for an hour breaking down that one-game slate for $1 million up top, which is pretty crazy. So be sure to hit the notification bell so you can be notified of when I go live in a couple hours. Be sure to hit the like button as we're approaching almost 27,000 subscribers. Gained about 1,000 in the last 3 or 4 days, so welcome all the new peeps. Over 300 people watching live right now. What up? Rodgers or Stafford? Give me Rodgers. Jimmy G or Stafford at QB? Oof, that's a really good question. The answer for the season is Stafford, but this specific week, it's close. I have Jimmy G projected for 17.9, and I have Stafford projected for 18. It's a toss-up. Jimmy G has the better matchup. Stafford has the, I would say, better weapons. This is what I'll answer you with. If Deebo Samuel is fully healthy, the answer is Jimmy G. If Deebo Samuel and or Brandon Ayuk are out, the answer is Matthew Stafford, who has a healthy team right now. Outside of DeAndre Swift, but he's at least practicing limited, but you know what I mean about the pass catchers, right? That's who you want to be healthy. Marlon Mack or AJ Green this week? I'll go Marlon Mack, but they're both projected for like 11.5 points for me. Hollywood Brown or Christian Kirk? Hollywood Brown. Djax or AJ Brown? AJ Brown. A lot of questions. I like it. Christian Kirk or Lazard this week? Give me Allen Lazard. I don't like Christian Kirk's matchup. I think it's the worst one of the entire weekend against Richard Sherman. They're not going to sacrifice DeAndre Hopkins to Richard Sherman's side, right? They're going to put Emmanuel Mosley, the cornerback from the San Francisco 49ers, who is a really good cornerback, like would be the best cornerback on most of the teams in this league, and he's the worst cornerback on his team, which is crazy, out of the starters. Kwan Williams in the slot is better than him in the slot. And then you obviously have Richard Sherman. So pretty crazy that your worst cornerback of your starting three, Emmanuel Mosley, would probably be the number one on 75% of the other teams in this league. Edelman, DJ Shark, or Deshaun Jackson. Jake Elwood donates $5. Appreciate that. He says Cobb in the captain spot, Fuller, Hill, Kelsey, Robinson, and Watson for tonight's matchup. What do you think? Yeah, I think that Cobb's going to be a very sneaky play tonight. Captain spot, you're going to probably have to get 2 touchdowns out of him, but Cobb can definitely have one of those 6 reception 100-yard games. He's done it so many times in his career. And he's not an old man. Like Julian Edelman still has a lot of juice left in his tank, and he's 34. Cobb's only 30. So as a slot receiver, Cobb still has upside. So you're saying Cobb in your captain spot with Deshaun Watson, and you're running it back with Hill and Kelsey and Robinson. Yeah, I think it's fine. You really need Watson to score on the ground, which hurts the upside of having a guy like Fuller and Cobb in your lineup. So it might make it a little bit more difficult to actually get something going there. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think that's actually fine. Seeing a lot of people putting in super chats, 3 in a row, $5. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you. So Jake Elwood, I think that's a good lineup. I don't think it's bad. How much money are you leaving on the table, though, Jake, is my question to you as a follow-up. So my thoughts are, it looks good, but how much money are you leaving on the table? It correlates fine, right? You got the quarterback stacking. You got guys running it back on the other side. You're pretty much just going to need Watson to outscore Mahomes in that lineup because if Hill and Kelsey go off, Mahomes is obviously scoring a lot. So you need Watson to really go off, which is fine because that probably helps Fuller and Cobb. So how much money is left on the table there? If you want to make sure that your question is guaranteed to be answered, you could leave a super chat, which is what Jake just did, which is what some other people like Tom just did. Tom asked because I'm just going to gravitate towards those questions because it's just the right thing to do. I appreciate you people for super chatting. Thank you. Tom asks, full PPR, who do you start or who would you start this week? David Johnson, Josh Jacobs, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Miles Sanders, and Joe Mixon. So how many people do I have to pick there, Tom? Let me know. I don't know how you got all those running backs, but the answer is definitely Clyde Edwards-Helaire number 1, without a question of a doubt. Josh Jacobs number 2. Those are the 2 answers. I don't know how you got these 6 running backs. I don't know if you're asking for like DFS, but Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Josh Jacobs, that's number 1 and number 2. Number 3 would probably be Joe Mixon since Miles Sanders is dealing with some injuries right now. Kaysen donates $5 to the stream. Thank you. I appreciate that. He says, pick 2, DJ Moore, DJ Shark, Keenan Allen, and Robert Woods. I will be going with DJ Moore there. And it's a toss-up between Keenan Allen and Robert Woods. Definitely not Shark out of those 4 this week. But DJ Moore is my number 1 option there, so definitely that. Cooper Kupp's dealing with an injury, going up against Dallas with no Byron Jones. Let's go Robert Woods. So DJ Moore and Robert Woods there. The projections say DJ Moore and Robert Woods as well for me. But it's like a toss-up between Keenan Allen and Woods. But Moore is my highest projected of the 4. Thank you for the 3 people who just super chatted. I appreciate that. Thank you. Hey, Sal, Anthony Miller or Robbie Anderson? I will go Anthony Miller. Zach Moss or CeeDee Lamb this week? Give me CeeDee Lamb. I think Zach Moss is the better overall season option out of those 2 for this specific year. CeeDee Lamb, obviously the better dynasty fantasy option. But for this specific week, I'll go with Zach Moss. I do think CeeDee Lamb might actually have a really nice week 1. I just don't know if Zach Moss gets there in week 1. Like CeeDee Lamb, if Amari Cooper is going to be facing Jalen Ramsey, like CeeDee Lamb has a pretty nice matchup in the slot where they no longer have their good slot cornerback in the Rams. The Eagles have him now. No, not Darius Slay. He was an Eagles player, or he was a Lions player, and he's not good in my opinion. But no, I'm talking about Nickel Robbie-Coleman. Slot cornerback was very good. Devontae Parker or John Brown? Give me John Brown there, but no real strong stance on either. I don't think you're going to be mad either way. I think they'll perform pretty similarly. Robert Woods over Juju or Gurley? He's on my bench. Robert Woods over Juju, yes. Over Gurley, no. I'd be starting Gurley there. Should I start Cam Newton? Yeah, who's your other quarterbacks? I like Cam Newton a lot. OBJ, Keenan Allen, and Robert Woods. Pick 2. Keenan Allen and Robert Woods. Is Denzel Mims a worthy pickup on the free agent market? If you're in a deep league, if you're like in an 18 to 22 round league, yeah, he is. If you're just in like a 4 bench spot league, no, Denzel Mims isn't worth picking up yet. But he might be after this week. He's definitely going to beat out Chris Hogan pretty quickly. In my opinion, he's the best wide receiver on that team. Denzel Mims, not counting Jamison Crowder, just the outside receivers. 350 people watching live. Thank you. I appreciate it. Be sure to hit the like button. And the big one is hitting the subscribe button. I'm going to post a link into the chat right now to a link to sign up to get my NFL DFS course for free if you donate the minimum deposit on the sponsor, Monkey Knife Fight. So I'm just going to throw this into the chat real quickly. I got to find it quick. Trying to find it. There we go. Post this link to my Twitter. You can follow me when you're there too. Just updates on all my stuff. Bang. Get this bad boy up. There we go. If you're listening on the podcast, any silent moments is just, we're on a live stream right now. So we're live streaming for an hour every Thursday from noon to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then I'll put it up on the podcast a little bit later on. So any stardom sit-em questions, hopefully that they'll be answered. And at least even if the specific one is not answered, you can kind of get a sense for guys that I like more than others. And you can always get the projections on Patreon. They'll be linked up on Patreon as always. Let's see what we got here. More questions coming in. Kayson donates another $5. Wow, 2 super chats from Kayson. C8, Clyde Edwards-Helaire or Josh Jacobs? Already starting Barkley and Mixon at running back. How did you get these running backs? Are you in like a 4-man league? Like these are literally 4 of the top 12 running backs in fantasy. Already starting Barkley and Mixon. at running back. Want to play it safe with Jacobs, but should I take Clyde Edwards-Helaire? Yes, Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Saquon Barkley are the answers there. And I would start Josh Jacobs over Mixon as well. But if you want to start Jacobs, that's fine. Or if you want to start Mixon, that's fine. My answer is number 1, Barkley, number 2, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, and number 3, Josh Jacobs. That's the order in which I think that those players produce this week. I have Jacobs projected for more than Mixon. I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire projected for more than Jacobs, or right around the same as Jacobs, and then I have Barkley projected for the most. Don't spam the chat with questions. Yeah, I'll answer your question if I don't see it because it drops down. That's fine, but don't send it 20 times or 10 times. Send it once every couple of minutes if I don't see it. Cam or Kyler this week? I'll go Cam Newton. Josh Allen week 1? Yeah, he seems fine. James White or A.J. Brown? A.J. Brown. Breida or Cam Sims? Or Steve Sims, I think you mean. Or at least I think I mean. Matt Breida or Steve Sims? Yeah, I'll answer that question right now for you, actually. 1 second. So they just got Jalen Richard. Let me check my projections. Matt Breida, will pull up the running backs here, a couple of them. Matt Breida or Steve Sims? Let's see. Steve Sims, I actually I've been getting him late in all my drafts. Steve Sims I have projected for... Steve Sims projected for 8 fantasy points, and Matt Breida I have projected... This is PPR, right? So Matt Breida I projected for 9. So give me Matt Breida there, but it's very close. Bell/Metcalf, pick one. Give me Metcalf. David Johnson or Will Fuller? If you're talking about your season-long league, I'll take David Johnson there. Djax, Gibson, or Kirk in the flex? Pick one. Djax. If you had to choose to drop one from your team, would it be Sony Michel or Breida? Sony Michel. Michel or Parker for the flex? I will take Parker there. Alrighty. Let's keep this thing going. What do we got? We got 5 more minutes. I'm going to stay on live. And then you can watch it on the replay if your question didn't get answered. Ruggs or Deshaun Jackson? Deshaun Jackson this week. Kareem Hunt or Hollywood Brown this week in my flex? Give me Kareem Hunt. Tom donates $5 to the stream. I appreciate this. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. He says, a lot of reaching in my draft this year, but what two do I start and who do I flex? So Tom asks, what 2 do I start and who do I flex? Let me go back to Tom's original question now, which is going to be a very high scroll, but here we go. You start Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Josh Jacobs, no questions asked this week. And then the answer is Miles Sanders if he's fully healthy. So keep an eye on the injury news. They're saying that right now he's struggling through his hamstrings, doing shadow drills in camp, which, he still has a couple days. But Josh Jacobs and Clyde Edwards-Helaire definitely. Your third answer is Miles Sanders, but watch Sunday morning. If they're saying that he's going to be limited, or he's going to play, I think, but he's going to be limited. He's not going to play 100% of the snaps. Then you go to Joe Mixon, who is going to have his full workload of 20-plus touches if the game stays close. And either way, probably still going to see 5 targets. So Miles Sanders, Josh Jacobs, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire, but keep an eye on Miles Sanders as your stipulation there. Thanks for the super chat, by the way. Hit the like and subscribe button, says Mike. Yeah, Mike, I appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, definitely hit the like and subscribe like Mike says. Almost 400 of you in here live on a 1 o'clock on a Thursday. That's awesome. So thank you all so much. Be sure to check out all the other content. If you're just finding me, I'm going to answer your questions as much as I can. 400 people asking questions every single minute. So trying to answer as many as I can. Gibson or A.J. Brown in the flex. A.J. Brown, if you want to make sure that your question is guaranteed answered, you could leave a super chat. That's just the best way that I'll see it. This is the only spot I'm answering these start and sit-em questions each week. I get a lot in the Discord. I get a lot on my Twitter mentions and on the YouTube comments. I just can't answer them. Because if I spent all my time answering them, it'd be a full-time job, right? So sometimes here and there, I might answer them if I have a second or I think strongly about it. Most of the time, though, I'm answering 1% of those questions I get a week because I probably get 100 a day. And I just can't spend 2 hours a day answering start and sit-em questions. So I spend 1 hour a week, and we do it right here, and we bang out a bunch of them. Would you trade Kenyon Drake and Chris Carson for Derrick Henry? No, I would not. Hayden Hurst or Jack Doyle? Hayden Hurst. Hilton or Deontay Johnson? Hilton. TJ Hawkinson, Jared Cook, Hayden Hurst. Pick one, Hayden Hurst. And then drop Jared Cook because you don't need 3 tight ends. David Montgomery or James Robinson this week? If Montgomery is a full go, Montgomery. But props to you. If you don't have James Robinson and he's on your waivers, go get James Robinson. Man's a beast. There's no more Fournette. Ezekbo's on IR. And Ryquell Armstead, when he comes back, might regain the starting job. But he has COVID right now, and it looks like Robinson's going to have a chance to beat him out to start the year. Somebody says, go Burks. Tyler Comport. You go to Penn State Burks? Is that what that was? Or is that answering a question about a player? I don't know what Burks is in here. We ain't talking about the NBA and Trey Burks, Dallas Mavericks. My man Tyler says, go Burks. Shout goes out to Penn State Burks. What is your thought on Cam Akers? I like Cam Akers. Probably not this specific week, but on the season. Got a guy blowing some leaves outside my apartment. You guys could probably hear that. Antonio Gibson, Cam Akers, or Robinson in my flex. I'm going to go with Robinson this week. Cam Akers is close, though. Let me actually check let me actually check, right? Go Cam Akers. It's a safer play. Robinson, I think, has a lot of upside. Like, one of these guys, in Jonathan Taylor, Cam Robinson, Cam Akers, one of these guys, or James Robinson, one of these guys is going to break out in a major way. The leaf blower is better than the sirens. Yeah, they're like right outside my window right now. CeeDee Lamb or Devontae Parker, half point. CeeDee Lamb. Hunt, Cooper Kupp, or Gallup. Pick two. I'm going to be going with Cooper Kupp and Hunt. Bell or Carrion? Bell. Perriman, N'Keal Harry, or Hardman? Flex, pick one. N'Keal Harry. Jesus, these guys are yelling right now. Fuck, I hope this doesn't happen every time at this time. If it is, it's only 5 minutes before the end of the show. Hey, Sal, somebody in my league dropped Hollywood Brown. Who do you think I should pick up for him? Drop Akers, Marvin Jones, or Boyd? I would drop Boyd. DJ, Deshaun Jackson, Fournette, or Carrion? Half point, Deshaun Jackson. Full PPR, Cam Akers or White? Give me Akers. Alrighty, gang, I think I'm going to end this bad boy. So be sure to super chat if you want to be sure to get my question answered. This is the only spot I'm answering these stardom synonyms. Sunday morning I'll answer some more stardom synonyms, but we'll answer everything there. We'll answer stardom synonym and we'll answer some of the DFS questions. So tonight I'm going to be live streaming at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Hit the subscribe button before I go. I'm done right now unless somebody wants to super chat, then I'll answer it. Check out Monkey Knife Fight. You're going to get my DFS draft guide, all that stuff in there. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We got about 400 people live at one point. That rocks. We're going to have a lot of people tonight. It's going to be fun. 6 p.m. Eastern time. The season is here. $1 million to first on DraftKings. I cannot wait. We're going to be live again next week at this time. You helped me a lot, Joey says. Thank you. No problem, Joey. Appreciate your support. This week, next time, noon Eastern time, Thursday. Another live stream for Stardom Cinema. So be sure to get in here. Be sure. Showdown slate tonight on DraftKings. 8:20, I think it starts. Something like that. The season starts tonight. We'll be live from like 6 to 7:30. I'm going to do a very long show tonight to answer everybody's questions, to chat around, and just to get this thing going. We just got a $5 donation right before I went off the stream, so I'm happy I was able to do it. Starting watching you when you were about 5,000 subs. Congrats on the success. You deserve it. Hard working. Thanks, man. I appreciate that, Phil. Yeah, man. I've made over 1,000 videos now in less than 2 years. October will be 2 years since we started making the DFS videos, and we're up to like 1,020 or 1,030 videos. So like everybody always asks me in my mentions or just on Twitter or sometimes like, how do you grow a YouTube channel? There's some channels that'll blow up overnight, but that's a very minimum, and those people probably don't have a business mindset to make it work. Yeah, you make in the DFS space, if you want to know how to make it on your own in the DFS space or just the fantasy space, you make 1,000 videos in 2 years that are high quality and consistent. There's no shortcuts in this space. It is very competitive. It is very saturated. You just make a lot of content, and eventually you'll stand out. McKissick is the starter. Yeah, J.D. McKissick might actually start and get the first snap, but there's no starter in Washington right now. And the best player on that roster is Antonio Gibson. So the depth charts don't matter. They are made by an intern. Won one of your giveaways 2 years ago when you had less than 500 subs. Congrats. Happy to hear that. That's awesome. That's really cool, actually. Support this man. He will make you money, says Jake. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Thank you, Jake. I appreciate you. See you guys in the next one, which is going to be literally in 5 hours. You can check out some of my other content that's already up for the week. The first look video for DFS. We have a betting video up that went up yesterday. Bunch of stuff. Thursday Night Football video. See you all. Come with your questions for the Showdown slate. Come with your questions for the NFL season tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern time. I'll be back in about 5 hours right here on this channel talking some Showdown football. Can't wait. Peace out, gang.